So we're called the meeting at 6:37. And I just have to give the virtual meeting statements, which is pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020, order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, chapter 30A, subsection 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. The meeting of the Hubbardston Zoning Board of Appeals will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found at www.hubbardstonma.us. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post them on the town's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive records of proceedings as soon as possible. So with that being said, this meeting is also being recorded.
Okay, thank you. And Gary, thank you for participating in what is the first Zoning Board of Appeals Zoom hearing. This is all new for us, and so we ask your patience as we go through this process. Tonight, the ZBA is holding a public hearing on the application of Gary McLeod of 8 Morrow Lane, Hubbardston, to grant a variance for a one-car garage foundation that does not meet either the front or the side setback requirements. The ZBA may grant the variance based on soil conditions, shape and topography of the land, if there's a substantial hardship, either financial or otherwise, and if it's not detrimental to the public good. The typical process for the ZBA hearing is that after we start the public hearing portion of this meeting, we will give you a chance to present your case, why you would like us to consider the variance or the variances in this case. After you are done, the zoning board has the opportunity to ask questions. Following the questions, anyone from the public can ask questions or make statements. And also at that time, we will read into the record any letters or correspondence that we received. So we're ready to start the meeting, the public portion. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make a motion, Steve. Scott.
Okay, and second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. So the public portion of this meeting is open. Gary, please explain the reasons why for this variance.
Yep, and let me know if you can't hear me or have any questions. I think you all have the packet that I'll refer primarily to the site plan that was with that, which shows where the proposed location is to be for the garage. This site plan was prepared by an engineer and it was submitted in conjunction with the entire project back in, I think it was, well, it started in 17. We basically built in 18 and 19. So at that time, the plan called for a 2-car garage, but when we got the project going and did some of the retaining walls that were necessary, because it is a sloping site, and in an effort to try and keep some access to the rear yard area, we decided we would go ahead and submit for a 1-car garage, a smaller garage, in generally the same location as what was proposed previously and what we had a foundation permit for before, but that lapsed. So we're asking now for a new permit for a smaller 16 by 24 foot 1-car garage. Like I said, in the same general location up at what would be the northwest corner of the site. And the reason for that is it is closer to the road. The site is a legal non-conforming lot. It has a total area of about, I think it's 28,700 square feet. And we're the most, I'd say the logical place to put it is most level up by the road. It really wouldn't be feasible to put it further down towards the pond. Obviously we have to create more driveway and things like that, and it just doesn't make sense. And I don't even know if it's physically possible, to be honest with you, because of the retaining wall that's there. But that's really what we're looking to do. Kind of modify the site plan from before and just go with a smaller building now.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like I said, we had a permit initially. For a 24 by 24 garage that was issued in 18. I think you have a copy of that. We didn't go through with that. We decided to stabilize the site going into the winter. So we felt the money was better spent at that point doing that to preserve the resource. And so then when we went back and kind of reapplied, that's when we got the denial with regards to zoning, and the zoning enforcement officer saying we needed to now apply for a variance. So that's really why we're here now.
Okay. So what was the original location for the two-car garage?
It's basically the same in that plan, up at the top corner again. And it's, I superimposed over it because it's generally the same spot. It's just a smaller, that was a 24 by 24. This is going to be a 16 by 24.
So why was there a need to get a variance now and not prior to?
You'd have to ask the zoning enforcement officer, I guess, that. I mean, we submitted the then building inspector said the whole lot sits within the 200-foot buffer area and is controlled by DCR. So he said, whatever DCR approves, I will approve. So we had the site plan prepared by an engineer, submitted to DCR. They were in concurrence with the site plan, said it was okay. And then we obviously went ahead and got a building permit for the house at that point. And it was an old camp, and we redid, we basically expanded that and created a new house. And we just didn't do the garage at that point, but we did go back in and get a permit for the foundation. But again, we never fulfilled that permit, partly because of economic reasons, and again, to stabilize the site going into the winter months. We thought that was better to do.
So can I ask Scott and Mr. McLeod, what is the variance we're looking for? What are the setbacks we're looking at? What DCR agreed to?
I'm trying to think what it is for zoning, but I'll say we're looking to get we're going to be 25 feet from the road.
So you're looking for a 50-foot variance from the road, because that's supposed to be 75 feet.
It would be 75 if you were conforming to with a new lot, yes.
Then what about the side variance?
We're looking to get about 7 feet off the side lot line. And what is that, 30 feet? I'm not sure.
Correct.
30.
And my other question is, what is that letter still standing from DCR on their agreement to this? And also the town of Hubbardston Conservation also was involved with this. Are they still in compliance? Are they okay with this?
They approved this plan originally, the original site plan. I had a full order of notice of intent and order of conditions from them. That was all issued previously, which was under this original plan. I have not gone back to conservation. I don't even know. Do I have to show? I guess
don't believe you do.
Same thing, but I haven't gone back to them.
Yeah, so conservation would require a certificate of completion once your project's done, and your notice of intent is good for 3 years. So if you're It looks like they signed off on the, I don't know when they actually signed the notice of intent paperwork, but it was sometime around May. So we're gonna have to look into that to make sure your notice of intent isn't expired.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It was assigned well, what do I have?
Looks like January 18th, 2017.
That's what it was submitted to the DEP to get their number, yeah. I mean, it's been an open, really an open project the whole time. We tried to reapply for this in April, and here we are, now just getting through this, partly because of COVID and the time it took for the building inspector to make his determination that we needed to get a variance. So we've certainly lost 5 months, with regards to that too. So I hope the notice of intent doesn't now set us back even further.
Scott, if we get to the point of that, can we ask conservation to waive 30 days or whatever on the notice of intent due to the unusual circumstances we're all in right now?
Valerie's looking like she has a thought.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure because so what we would be asking for is an extension on the order of conditions. So I guess the first thing we have to figure out is you can ask for an extension as long as you ask for that extension within 30 days of it expiring. So we have to find out when it expires. Gary, do you know, is that ever recorded with the Registry of Deeds?
Is that something I do, or is that something done as a matter of procedure?
Yeah, it would be something you would have done when they issued the order of conditions.
No, I'm sure I have a copy of it, but I don't recollect taking it down to the registry specifically to be recorded.
The other thing is, it's hard to see on the plan, but the garage might actually be outside of the jurisdiction.
Of what, the DCR or the conservation?
Conservation.
Oh, okay.
If you look on what would be the northerly property line, you can see where it says 100-foot BVW buffer zone. Right by the 108, 106 contours.
Mm.
Okay.
You kind of project that across. He's really close to being out of it,
Yeah.
just by my eye and scale. If I may, Mr. Chairman, I got a couple questions.
Okay, no, go right ahead.
The septic system, is that dashed square to the south of the property?
It's to the south side, yep. So all that was put in by the previous owner, but yes, it's a pump up system, and that whole leach field is basically, I'll say the larger rectangle, and I think they depict the 2 tanks in the plan.
Okay, and then, so your well is right adjacent to Morrow Lane. You're a butter to the north. Do they have any septic systems or wells close to where you're proposing the garage?
Yep, if you look to the right of where the garage is, they show that well is shown on the plan.
Okay, yep.
And then they have a tight tank over on that lot, and I believe that's further to the east, kind of between it doesn't show their house, which is down by the shoreline, but their system, I believe their tight tank would be west of their house. So between their house and the well is kind of where their tight tank is in general.
Okay, and then the only other point of concern that I have is the notes are not clear. Was this the result of a boundary survey, or is this just a topography by the engineer?
No, I've had a survey done on the plan. I think the engineer took the survey that was done, and then she did all the elevations and laid everything out. That was Clearwater Environmental.
Yeah, who was the surveyor?
Doug Andryzik out of Princeton.
Okay, all right. I mean, it looks like you're pretty, a lot of drop off. You don't have a lot of options to put this thing in compliance with the current zoning. And
Yeah, it gets steeper as you go down, obviously towards the water. It is a topographical issue. That's why it's really kind of closer to the road, obviously.
Mhm.
And that's the most, even though it still has a little bit of slope, that is the more level portion of the site.
Okay. And then how old was the original camp? Would this lot predate zoning?
I believe so. The camp was from the 20s, I think.
Okay.
I think your paperwork's at 1920.
20 something.
Actually.
Yeah, 1920 something. I don't have the exact date.
Okay. That was all the questions I had, Scott.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have questions?
Is there any abutters that sent any correspondence in, or they're not at the meeting either, are they?
We have two. One is Charlie Carey, who owns 14 and 15 Morrow Lane. And he writes, we understand that our neighbor Gary McLeod at 8 Morrow Lane would like to put a garage, needs a variance to put the structure in the most logical location. Both my wife Deborah and I support Gary's request for this variance, and we hope that it is granted. Then there's a second letter, and it's from Elizabeth Burbank of 4 Morrow Lane, who has an almost identical letter, and she supports the variance. Gary, is Elizabeth Burbank the owner of 4 Morrow Lane? Because in the abutters
Yes.
list, it has someone else.
Yeah, I mean, the town put together the abutters list, but Elizabeth Burbank bought the property from the Hams probably 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I think even the transaction for the neighbor to the north, that property had changed hands also. It's no longer Hiller's, but it was Masterman's. And I know they all got the notice. Hiller's forwarded to the Masterman's. And I think Betsy, she gets mail at 4 Morrow, so she ended up getting it anyway.
Yeah, and Scott, I actually just checked my email before the meeting started, and I did get an email from the Mastermans at 12 Morrow Lane along the same lines. We live at 12 Morrow Lane, and but the McLeod house, we are in favor of Gary's garage.
God, I'm ready to make a motion.
Before we do that, we need to close the public portion, correct? Any more questions?
I do have a question.
Okay.
The property owners directly to the north, are they any of these ones that wrote in, or did they respond? I'm just curious.
That's the Masterman's, yep. And
Okay.
then Mallory just said they did.
Okay, thanks. That's all I have.
Okay, any more questions? Hearing none. Do I have a motion to close the public portion of the meeting?
I make that motion, Scott.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
I'll make the motion to grant the variance as requested. For the,
Do you want to put the numbers of their, because he's looking for a 50-foot and a 23-foot variance, but do we want to, what about the overhangs?
I always suggest at the meeting, Scott, because we've had this happen before, that we add another 3 to 4 feet just in case there is an overhang, so that the house does not have to get moved. If somebody comes along 10, 20 years later and they redo the lot, and we've had this happen before. If he wants a 30-foot setback, we always suggest we go 35.
Okay, and then the side setback? You want to give a 25-foot variance then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the motion is to grant the variance with a front setback of 50 feet and a side variance of 23 feet.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just add one condition of approval that a registered surveyor stamp an as-built plan of the foundation.
Okay,
I'm sorry, just for my clarification, does the setback then apply to the foundation itself as opposed to the overhang then, right?
it should apply to the, right to the overhang.
We've given you extra footage on you, so if you do want to overhang, it won't be over you won't be over
Won't
on
be-
your setbacks.
Won't be non-complying? Okay.
Correct.
And then a survey at the end that shows that it's, the foundation is in the place we said it was going to be.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. We have a second.
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
We actually just have to do this as a roll call vote.
Oh.
So we'll have to go through each person.
Okay,
So I can do it from the top. Bill,
Bill Holman's aye.
Scott,
aye.
Andy,
Aye.
Gail,
Aye.
and David. All in favor.
Thank you.
Thank you. very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So if there's an appeal period to this, right, as a matter of process, is that right?
Correct. Once the town clerk has gotten the message or the approval, there's a 20-day appeal process. At the end of the appeal process, you'll receive communication from the town clerk, and you'll have to take the appeal results down to the Registry of Deeds and file that.
Oh, so that has to be filed?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And that's my responsibility.
It is.
That's not part of the fee that was paid for this process. Okay.
No, it's not.
Nope.
Okay.
Another $105.
Yeah. All right. And so once we can't do anything until the appeal period has run its course, correct?
Correct.
So I guess the variance, I mean, there's no time limit on the variance. If this gets pushed into next year, just because we're then into late October, that's not an issue, right? I mean, I still have to come in and or does the building permit automatically get issued since that's what triggered this, Mallory? Or I still come in and file for a new building?
Yeah, your building permit, I believe, is still active in Viewpoint. So Roland will get notification of this, the hearing. And once the decision is finalized and the appeal period has been met, then that will just get uploaded to your file. And we'll just do some modifications for the setbacks and all that good stuff.
Okay, because I'm just thinking we'll be kind of late this year. I don't know if I can get in touch with anybody. And I don't want to get a permit now and then have it expire, by next spring if it's only has 6 months. So if I can come in next spring and we can just get that issued at that point then, right?
I think the variance is valid for 1 year.
1 year, correct.
Oh, that has a time frame too. Okay.
Yep.
Correct.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate your time. Stay safe.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other business before the ZBA?
So I just, the decision paperwork, how would you like to have it signed? I can send it electronically.
Yeah.
And do it very DocuSign. Or if you feel comfortable popping into the office, you're more than welcome to come and do it that way. It's totally up to you guys.
Yeah, I can do either way myself.
Could you email it to me, Mallory? I'll have to DocuSign it and send
Okay.
it back.
Yeah, I'd like to try DocuSign as well.
Sure.
I'll stop into the office, Mallory.
Okay. I'll be there.
It's a long walk.
It's exhausting.
Okay. Do we have anything else, Mallory, that we need to attend to?
Not yet.
Oh, wait a minute, we got a chat.
Perfect. I'll let you know when it's ready.
Oh,
All right, thank you all.